Okay, I'm gonna make this video thoughts part two. Okay, I just got through listening to some of the Counselor G Plus uh their video from last night, and I'm just thinking about predestination, salvation, and man's part, God's part. And if he predestined everything, really, you have to say that God is to blame for everything. You have, for right now, that's what I haven't thought it all the way clearly, all the way through, but I have thought on it deeply as I can without writing stuff down, right? But if it goes the Calvinist way, God is responsible for everything that happened on this earth. Therefore, God created man. God elected some to come to heaven. And then God selected the rest to burn in hell for eternity. You see what I'm saying? Okay. God created man. God created man to sin. Then God created man uh, to come to heaven. Then God created man to burn in hell for eternity. And that goes against so much stuff that I believe, right? I believe that man is at fault for the fall of the earth. I don't see how I can, what I'm saying, just me saying that God is to blame for everything, cuz that's how you got to look at it. If you're predestined Calvinist, you have to say that God created everything for that, right? Now, some other stuff that I wrote down the other day, I think it was if God did this for his glory, who's gonna see his glory but the elect and him? Everybody else is dead. Burning in hell. Uh, and how are they responsible for their actions? How are they responsible for their actions when they were predestined to do that? Why call a man to judgment if he bears no, if he has no responsibility for his actions? They'll say oh, he has choice. But what is that choice? What is that choice if he's predestined to be the way he is? There's no way he could change. This is why I cannot get this is why I cannot be a Calvinist. Nah, hey, I'm not against my brothers that say that, but I don't know. It just don't sit right with me. It don't sit right. It don't sit right with me at all to say God is to blame. God creates evil, but we partake in evil willfully. Therefore, we are to blame for partaking in the evil. I can't look to God and say, hey, it's your fault I looked at that woman lustfully. It's your fault that I smoked these cigarettes. It's your fault I'm drinking this alcohol until I'm drunk. It's your fault that I'm doing cocaine, sleeping with hookers. It's your fault. But then, when we get into it, a man does have a choice. But why? How can you say man has a choice if he's predestined? You see, that's not the spirit that I feel. That's not the spirit that I felt. That's not the word that I hear coming out that I see coming out those scriptures. I see God saying, "Oh Israel, if only thou what was it? I'll pull up scripture right now. Hold up. I got time. I'm gonna upload this video. No, this isn't to start a Calvinist war. This is my own personal thoughts, for the world to see. I think it's Isaiah 48. Here. Oh, okay. Isaiah 48:18. Oh, that thou hast hearkened to my commandments, then had thy peace been as a river, and thy righteousness as the waves of the sea. Therefore, what is that? What is that? Why is that in scripture? Oh, if thou hast hearkened to my commandments, then had thy peace been as a river, and thy righteousness as waves of the sea. It doesn't sound like God is happy with our decisions, and we are choosing against his will. We don't even have to call it free will. Like my brother Peter said, Peter Gunn, I forgot his full name here on G+. But he's like, there's two wills. The will of God and the will of man. Now, me and him both can't explain the gift that God give us to rebel against him. But somehow, some way, the responsibility falls back on man. Right? It falls back on you. But if you predestine everybody, there's no need for us to talk. There was no need for us to spread the gospel. There was no need to die on the cross. There was no need to have life at all. Think about that. Just put us in heaven, put them in hell, let it be done. That's how I see it, man. I don't get Calvinism, and men, we boast around with our chest out as if we know. I'm not boasting here. I'm actually trying to reason the scripture. I read it. I see, okay, Esau and Jacob One I hated, yeah, I see that. The one I loved. That doesn't mean they're predestined to hell. That can mean that they are predestined to do this particular thing. Right? I could go to, let's see. Oh yeah, Romans. I think it's Romans 9. Got it here somewhere. Hold up. No, Romans 7, I think. No? Where was that? I thought I read it down. Okay. Romans. Therefore, it is of faith that. Maybe I didn't write it down. Oh, I know what it is. I think it's Romans 7. Bear with me. Or just skip forward when you hear me bring it up. The funny thing is, I think it answers it answers the question of what Paul was trying to say about the predestined vessels. Okay, I know the scripture by heart, but I can't find it right now. How can one hear the word without a preacher? And how can one preach if they are not sent? Now that is a key passage to the predestination of the saints and the prophets. I wouldn't even say the saint, but the predestination of the prophets of good and destruction. Now, I think that's all I have to say, man. I mean, there's so much more I can go through, but the main topic of this video is it don't sit right. It don't sit right with me with the whole, God's to blame for everything. Let's see what the brothers are saying. Nothing. But yeah, if it was already predestined, man, I'm fine with that. But if it just don't sit right with me as a man. Now that'll be my question for God. That'd probably be my first one. Was it predestined? Please to inform me on everything. Because I didn't understand as a man. And are they burning in hell for eternity? Because of the predestination? And I'm pretty sure God would admire and love those that question those type of things, because it's a matter of justice. It's a matter of justice. And that's one word that I know in the scripture pops up over and over again. I am a just God. Now, with that being said, will it be just for me to create? Imagine me as being God. I create you. It's like ants in a way. Okay? Say you created some ants. And then you take those ants and you place them in a body that cannot be destroyed. And just place them in hell. Fire. Forever. And they and they just burn and burn and burn and cry out my name. Why are you doing this to me? This hurts. The cries, the wailing. That's why the only way I think Calvinism can be just is if hell is nihilism. Okay? That's the only way that I can see it being just. You must. I think you must. I know this is me as a sinful man, but you must put that ant in a body that can be destroyed. Okay, I raised you up for a purpose, but then you just cease to exist. That's the only way. That's the only way I can see it in my man shell. That will be just. And I'm saying this knowing that I could die right now. Every heartbeat is not given to me, right? So I know that I could die right now and I will be before God asking these questions. So I don't ask them lightly. People don't like when I bring up that. But I think God give us a gift of himself, the ability to create good and evil. We have that ability too. We create good. We create evil. Okay, say I'm some rapist. I see a beautiful woman. Oh, I'm not a rapist, I'm just a man. See a beautiful woman walking up and running up and down the street. And I get overwhelmed by her lust. Or lusting after her. Can't blame her, right? Over my lust, over her. I get overwhelmed. And then I finally hit that tipping point. Think about it as a circle going around and around. I see her jogging all the time. And my lust buildeth up to the point where it poureth out. And then I introduce her into my evil, into my world. You see what I'm saying? I introduced her into my realm of where I created evil. Therefore, I am to blame, not God. God is not making me raped this woman. I decided to create that evil at that point. Same can be said in all crimes. So I think people need to think deeply before they start placing blame on God for everything that happens. Blame yourself for your evil. And that's my wholehearted conviction to tell the world. Like it or not, that's what I feel.